Welcome back to our channel, World of Coins. As you knew that old is gold, but these Abraham Lincoln pennies coins that are most valuable than you think, you're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into the world of United States coins to take a closer look at the unassuming yet iconic 1980 US 1-cent coin. Don't let its size fool you. This tiny piece of copper has a big story to tell and could be worth much more than its face value. Stick around to the end of the video, because we'll reveal just how much this coin could fetch in today's market. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. The 1981 cent coin, also known as a penny, might seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. This coin is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which has been a cornerstone of U.S. currency since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin series in American history. But what makes the 1980 penny so interesting isn't just its design or historical significance, it's the potential value it holds for collectors. Let's start with the design. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll see the iconic profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's portrait has graced the penny for over a century, and it remains one of the most recognizable coin designs in the world. The reverse side of the 1980 penny features the Lincoln Memorial, a design created by Frank Gasparro. This image was used on the penny from 1959 to 2008, making the 1980 coin part of a distinct era in U.S. coinage. What makes the Lincoln Memorial design so fascinating is the level of detail. If you look closely at the reverse side with a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny depiction of the statue of Abraham Lincoln inside the memorial. This intricate detail is a testament to the craftsmanship that goes into creating these small works of art. Now, let's talk about the materials. The 1980 penny is primarily composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This composition was standard for pennies minted before 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched to a predominantly zinc composition with just a thin copper coating. This change was driven by rising copper prices, which made it too expensive to continue producing pennies with a high copper content. As a result, the 1980 penny represents one of the last years of the classic copper composition, adding to its appeal for collectors. But why is the 1980 penny so valuable? The answer lies in its rarity and condition. While millions of these pennies were minted, very few have survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most of the coins from this era were heavily circulated, meaning they show signs of wear and tear from years of use. Finding a 1980 penny that looks as if it just left the mint, shiny, free of scratches, and with crisp details, is incredibly rare. And as any coin collector will tell you, rarity and condition are two of the biggest factors that determine a coin's value. In addition to condition, there are other factors that can make a 1980 penny more valuable. For example, some pennies from this year were struck with minting errors or die variations. These could include off-center strikes, double dies, or other anomalies that occurred during the minting process. Error coins are highly sought after by collectors because they are unique and add an extra layer of intrigue to a coin's story. So, how do you know if your 1980 penny is worth more than 1 cent? Start by examining the coin closely. Look for signs of minting errors, and check the overall condition. A professional coin grading service can help you determine the coin's grade, which is a standardized measure of its condition. Coins with a high grade, such as those graded MS 65 or higher, are especially valuable. Also, keep an eye out for coins with a brilliant, lustrous finish, as these are more likely to command a premium price. If you think you've got a rare or valuable 1980 penny, it's worth having it appraised by a professional numismatist or submitting it for grading. Even if your penny doesn't have any obvious errors, its condition alone could make it a desirable piece for collectors. And remember, coin collecting isn't just about the money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the history behind each coin, and the stories they tell about the past. Now, let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1981 cent coin in exceptional, uncirculated condition, or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth an astonishing $49,000. That's right, this humble penny could turn into a small fortune for the lucky owner. So, don't underestimate the power of your loose change. Take a closer look at those coins sitting in your drawer, and who knows? You might just find a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Top 2, we're diving into a fascinating piece of American coinage history that might just be hiding in your pocket change, the 1991 United States 1-cent coin. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary penny, but beneath its humble appearance lies the potential for something extraordinary. Could this little coin be worth a life-changing sum? Stick with me until the end of this video, because I'll be revealing just how much this coin could fetch in today's market. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. The 1-cent coin, or penny, has been a mainstay of U.S. currency since its inception in 1793. By 1991, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for over 8 decades, making it one of the most iconic and enduring designs in American coin history. The 1991 penny, in particular, holds a unique place in the hearts of collectors, not just for its historical value but also for the hidden treasures it might hold for those lucky enough to possess one. Let's start with the design. The obverse of the 1991 penny features the familiar and revered profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. This design has become synonymous with the penny, instantly recognizable to Americans and collectors around the globe. What makes the obverse even more interesting is the subtle detail in Lincoln's portrait. The sharpness of the lines, the clarity of his profile, and the smoothness of the fields can make a world of difference when determining a coin's value. Turning the coin over, the reverse side of the 1991 penny showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Created by Frank Gasparo, this design is rich in detail and symbolism. If you look closely, you'll see a tiny depiction of the statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, an incredible touch of craftsmanship that's easy to miss without magnification. This small detail connects the coin to one of the most iconic landmarks in American history, making it more than just currency. It's a miniature work of art. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1991 penny so intriguing to collectors. By this time, the composition of the penny had shifted from the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy to a predominantly zinc core with a thin copper coating. This change occurred in 1982 due to the rising cost of copper. However, even with the shift to a cheaper composition, the 1991 penny retains a certain allure, particularly for those in search of rare variants, mint errors, and coins in exceptional condition. One of the key factors that can elevate the value of a 1991 penny is its condition. While billions of these pennies were minted, most have been heavily circulated over the years, accumulating scratches, dents, and other signs of wear. Finding a 1991 penny in near-perfect, uncirculated condition is incredibly rare. These coins, often stored away in coin rolls or forgotten collections, retain their original luster and sharp details, making them highly desirable to collectors. In addition to condition, mint errors play a huge role in the value of a 1991 penny. Errors can occur during the minting process and might include off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, or even rare planchet errors where the coin was struck on an incorrect metal. These mistakes are highly sought after because they are unique, turning a common penny into a one-of-a-kind collectible. Collectors love error coins for their rarity and the story they tell about the minting process. If you think you have a 1991 penny with an error, it's worth taking a closer look, or better yet, having it examined by a professional. Another factor to consider is the presence of proof coins from 1991. Proof coins are specially minted for collectors, struck with polished dies on high-quality blanks to produce a mirror-like finish and sharp details. While these coins were not intended for general circulation, they occasionally find their way into the public domain, making them a rare and valuable find. So, how can you determine if your 1991 penny is worth more than 1 cent? Start by examining it carefully. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the details on both sides of the coin. Pay close attention to the clarity of Lincoln's portrait, the sharpness of the lettering, and the details in the Lincoln Memorial. Look for any signs of unusual features, such as doubling in the lettering or other anomalies. If your coin appears to be in exceptional condition or shows signs of an error, it's worth having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Grading is a standardized process that evaluates a coin's condition on a scale from 1 to 70, with higher grades indicating better condition. A coin graded at MS 65 or higher is considered to be in mint state, meaning it's in the same condition as when it left the mint. Coins with higher grades and rare errors can command impressive prices in the collector market. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, the value of a 1991 penny. If you happen to have one in flawless, uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a rare and desirable mint error, it could be worth an incredible $41,000. That's right, this small, seemingly ordinary coin could be a hidden treasure, waiting to change your life. So, before you dismiss those pennies sitting in your piggy bank or tucked away in an old drawer, take a closer look. You never know what kind of hidden gems you might find. Top 3, we have a real treat for you. We're going to dive into the 1979 United States 1-cent coin, a seemingly humble penny that has an intriguing story and, believe it or not, could be worth far more than just 1 cent. If you think this tiny coin can't possibly hold any surprises, stick around, because I'm going to reveal just how much this little penny could be worth, and trust me, you're going to be amazed. The US 1-cent coin, or penny, has been around since 1793, making it one of the oldest coins in American circulation. Over the years, the design has undergone several changes, and the penny has become a familiar, almost iconic piece of US currency. But the 1979 penny is particularly interesting for collectors, as it sits at a unique point in US history. By 1979, the penny had undergone some subtle changes. The design of the coin had remained relatively the same since 1909, when Abraham Lincoln's portrait by Victor David Brenner was first introduced. Lincoln's face has graced the penny for over a century, and his image is one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. On the reverse of the 1979 penny, we still see the familiar Lincoln Memorial, which had been on the reverse since 1959. But there's something that makes the 1979 penny stand out: the composition. In 1979, the penny was still primarily made of copper, with a small percentage of zinc. This copper mix made the penny a bit heavier and gave it a certain shine that is often lost in modern pennies, which are now mostly made of zinc with a thin copper coating. The heavy copper composition gives the 1979 penny a warm, reddish hue that many collectors find attractive. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1979 penny so valuable? After all, it's just a coin that was minted over 4 decades ago. Well, the value of a coin often depends on several key factors: rarity, demand, and condition. While millions of 1979 pennies were struck, most of them were circulated and spent over the years. Finding one in pristine condition, especially one that has never been used, is a rare occurrence, and that's what makes this coin so desirable to collectors. You might be surprised to learn that the condition of the coin can have a massive impact on its value. Coins that are in what's called uncirculated condition, meaning they have not been used in circulation and show no signs of wear, are the holy grail for coin collectors. An uncirculated 1979 penny, with all of its original luster, can fetch a much higher price than a well-worn one. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. Another reason the 1979 penny is so coveted by collectors is because of certain minting errors and variations. During the minting process, sometimes things go wrong, whether it's an off-center strike, a double die, or an error with the design itself. These mistakes make the coin incredibly rare and significantly more valuable. Some of the most sought-after 1979 pennies feature double die errors, where the design appears to be doubled, giving the coin a distinctive, blurry effect. Other errors might include misaligned dies, where the design is stamped off-center, or coins that were struck on incorrect planchets. These error coins are fascinating to collectors, and they can be worth much more than a typical 1979 penny. So, how do you know if your 1979 penny could be worth more than just a few cents? The first thing you'll want to do is check its condition. If it looks shiny and new, and the design is still crisp with no signs of wear, it's worth having it examined further. You can look closely at the details on both sides of the coin, especially the portrait of Abraham Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. If the details are sharp and clear, it could indicate that the coin is in excellent condition. For a coin to be considered uncirculated, it needs to have no visible wear on the design or edges. If you suspect your 1979 penny might have a minting error, take a closer look. Look for double dies, where the lettering or designs are doubled. Check for any off-center strikes, where the design is not fully aligned on the coin. Look for any unusual marks or patterns that don't quite match up with other pennies from the same year. If you find something unusual, it's worth getting the coin professionally graded by a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These services evaluate the condition and authenticity of the coin, and they'll give it a grade based on its quality and uniqueness. In addition to its condition and any minting errors, another thing that can add value to a 1979 penny is its rarity. While most 1979 pennies are relatively common, there are some varieties that are harder to find, like pennies struck with a different mint mark or those produced in lower quantities. Certain types of 1979 pennies were minted in smaller batches, which makes them more valuable to collectors. A little research can help you identify which coins are more rare and worth seeking out. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value of the 1979 penny. If you have an uncirculated 1979 penny, or one with a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. How much, you ask? Well, an uncirculated 1979 penny, particularly one with a double die error or other rare feature, could be worth an astounding $54,000. Yes, you heard that right, $54,000 for a single penny. So, before you toss that old jar of pennies or brush off that 1979 penny you found in your change, take a moment to examine it closely. It might just be the hidden treasure you've been looking for. Top 4. We're about to uncover the fascinating world of a seemingly humble coin that has captured the attention of collectors and numismatists alike, the 1988 United States 1-cent coin. While it might seem like just another penny from the late 20th century, don't be fooled. This little piece of American currency has the potential to be far more valuable than you might expect. By the end of this video, I'll reveal just how much a 1988 penny could be worth, and trust me, you'll want to stay tuned. The US 1-cent coin, or penny, has been an integral part of American life since its first release in 1793. Over the years, the penny has undergone many changes, and the design we're all familiar with today, the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, has been a symbol of American history for decades. But the 1988 penny, despite being produced in large quantities, is much more than just another year of production. It represents a period of transition for the U.S. Mint, and that makes it a highly sought-after coin for collectors. Let's take a closer look at the 1988 penny itself. The obverse side features Abraham Lincoln's famous portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. This image has become iconic, one of the most well-known portraits in U.S. history. The sharpness of the details, especially on the 1988 penny, reflects the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint. Lincoln's distinguished profile has become synonymous with the penny, and every time you hold one in your hand, you're looking at over a century of American tradition. On the reverse of the 1988 penny, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo. This design was introduced in 1959, replacing the wheat ears design that had graced the back of the penny for nearly half a century. The Lincoln Memorial, an iconic symbol of American history, is depicted with incredible attention to detail on the reverse. The steps leading up to the memorial, the columns, and the statue of Lincoln seated inside are all beautifully rendered, making the reverse of the penny a work of art in its own right. What's particularly interesting about the 1988 penny is the clear and sharp relief of the design. The details on the Lincoln Memorial are often crisply etched on coins from this era, and that sharpness plays a role in determining the coin's value. Now, why should you pay attention to the 1988 penny? Well, it's all about the condition and the specific features of the coin. While millions of 1988 pennies were minted, most of them were spent in circulation, accumulating wear and tear over the years. Finding a 1988 penny in near-perfect condition is relatively rare, and that's where the value comes in. The value of any coin depends largely on its condition. Coins that have been carefully preserved, stored in optimal conditions, and remain free of scratches, dings, and other damage are the ones that collectors seek out. So, if you happen to come across a 1988 penny that's been well preserved, it could be worth significantly more than just 1 cent. One of the main factors that increase the value of the 1988 penny is its grade. Coin grading is a standardized system used to determine the condition of a coin, and it can have a huge impact on its market value. The grading scale ranges from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin, completely free from any imperfections. A coin with a grade of 65 or higher is considered to be in mint state, meaning it looks as though it just came from the mint. A 1988 penny in mint state, with clear and sharp details and minimal signs of wear, will command a much higher price than one that's been in circulation for decades. If you're wondering how to check your 1988 penny's condition, the first thing you want to do is closely examine the coin with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. Look at the fine details of Lincoln's portrait, paying attention to the hair, the beard, and the folds of his coat. The sharper the details, the better the condition of the coin. On the reverse, look closely at the Lincoln Memorial. If the steps and columns are clearly defined with little to no signs of wear, that's a good indication that the coin is in excellent shape. The clearer and sharper the design, the higher the grade and the more valuable the coin. Another important factor in determining the value of a 1988 penny is the presence of any mint errors. During the minting process, things don't always go as planned. Sometimes, a mistake is made that results in a coin being struck incorrectly. These mint errors can range from off-center strikes to double dies, where the design appears blurry or doubled. There are also other errors that occur when a coin is struck on the wrong type of planchet or when the die becomes damaged during the minting process. These errors are extremely rare, and they make a coin highly valuable to collectors. A 1988 penny with a minting error could easily fetch much more than a perfectly normal, uncirculated penny. So, what is the actual value of the 1988 penny? If you have an uncirculated 1988 penny, or one with a rare minting error, it could be worth far more than its face value. In fact, in exceptional cases, a 1988 penny can be worth as much as $46,000. That's right, $46,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that such a small, seemingly insignificant coin could hold so much value. But that's the beauty of coin collecting, you never know when you might stumble upon a hidden treasure. So, before you toss that jar of pennies or let those 1988 pennies sit in a drawer, take a closer look at them. They could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Top 5 and last coin, we've got a real gem to discuss, one that you may have overlooked in your coin collection, but trust me, this one is worth taking a second, or maybe even a third, look at. We're diving into the world of the 1984 United States 1 cent coin, better known as the 1984 penny. This small coin, which has been in circulation for decades, holds a surprisingly valuable secret that could make you a lot of money if you happen to have one in your collection. Stick around as we explore the story of this unassuming penny, its history, its design, and how it could be worth far more than just a few cents. The US 1 cent coin has a rich history, dating back to its creation in 1793. Over the years, the design has changed, but one thing has remained constant: the penny is a staple of American currency. The 1984 penny is part of the Lincoln series, which was introduced in 1909 to honor the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's image has graced the front of the penny for over a century, and the design is iconic, instantly recognizable to anyone familiar with U.S. currency. But what makes the 1984 penny so interesting, and what sets it apart from other pennies produced during the same era? To understand its value, we need to first take a step back and look at the context of the year 1984. The U.S. was in the midst of an economic boom, and the penny was a key part of the daily transactions that kept the economy moving. But while the penny was still used frequently in circulation, the quality of these coins varied. Coins from this era were often subject to wear and tear as they were spent, passed around, and used in everyday commerce. The 1984 penny features the familiar design that we've all come to recognize. On the obverse side, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image is one of the most iconic in American numismatics, and it has become synonymous with the penny itself. Lincoln's dignified expression is captured in sharp detail, and the coin's design has remained relatively unchanged for decades. On the reverse side of the 1984 penny, we find the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of American history and a tribute to the nation's 16th president. The memorial was introduced on the reverse of the penny in 1959 and replaced the previous wheat stalks design. The Lincoln Memorial design features incredible detail, with the columns, steps, and statue of Lincoln all clearly visible. This level of detail is what gives the penny its aesthetic appeal and makes it a favorite among collectors. The 1984 penny, in particular, was struck with impressive precision, meaning that even in circulated condition, it retains a lot of its visual charm. However, when it comes to the value of the 1984 penny, it's not just about the design, it's all about condition. Most of the pennies produced in 1984 were spent in circulation, and over the years, they've accumulated wear and tear. But there's a small fraction of these pennies that have survived in exceptional condition. Coins that remain in uncirculated, pristine condition are far rarer and are therefore much more valuable. The key to identifying valuable 1984 pennies lies in their condition. If a penny is well preserved, with sharp details and no visible signs of wear, it could be worth much more than its face value. A coin's condition is graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being the highest possible grade for a coin in perfect condition. Coins that are graded 65 or higher are considered to be in mint state, meaning they were either never used in circulation or were well preserved since being minted. A 1984 penny in mint state, with no scratches, nicks, or other imperfections, can be worth a significant amount of money. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. So, how do you know if your 1984 penny could be worth more than just 1 cent? The first thing to do is carefully examine it under good lighting. Look at Lincoln's portrait on the obverse. Are the details sharp and well defined? If the design is still crisp and clean, that's a good sign. Pay attention to the reverse as well, specifically the Lincoln Memorial. If the columns and steps are clearly visible with no signs of wear, it's another indication that your penny is in excellent condition. Another thing to look for is the overall appearance of the coin. Does it have any noticeable scratches, dings, or discoloration? Coins with these types of imperfections are typically not as valuable as those in pristine, uncirculated condition. If the penny shows minimal wear and looks close to what it would have looked like when it was first minted, it could be worth something much higher than face value, but the value doesn't just come from pristine condition alone. Some 1984 pennies are sought after by collectors because of mint errors. Mint errors are mistakes made during the minting process, and they can range from simple misprints to more significant flaws. For example, some 1984 pennies were struck off-center, meaning that the design didn't align properly on the coin. Other error coins might have been struck with a double die, where the design appears more than once in a blurry pattern. These types of minting errors can make a coin incredibly rare, and because of that, they are highly sought after by collectors. If you happen to find a 1984 penny with a minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Mint error coins are often worth a significant amount more than their regular counterparts, sometimes even many times their original value. Collectors are always on the lookout for these unique coins, and if you have one, it could be your ticket to a valuable find. So, just how much could a 1984 penny be worth? Well, if you've got an uncirculated 1984 penny in exceptional condition, or even one with a rare mint error, you could be looking at a value that far exceeds the penny's face value. In fact, in some cases, a single 1984 penny could be worth as much as $48,000. Yes, you heard that right, $48,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that such a small, everyday coin could hold so much value. But that's the beauty of coin collecting, You never know when you might discover a hidden treasure. So, before you toss that jar of pennies into a drawer, take a closer look at your 1984 pennies. They might just be worth far more than you think. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting.